Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Ipshita Bansal from BPS Women's University, Sonipat, Haryana. Today we will be discussing about the module Employee Participation Mechanisms of the paper Strategic Human Resource Management. By the end of this module, students will be able to understand and learn about the meaning, importance and strategic relevance of employee participation, understand the forms and levels of participation and the government policies involved, and gain insight on the issues of employee participation. Also, students will be able to understand and discuss the concept of managers' participation and mutual survival, explore the various ways recent organizations are involving employees in the decision-making process. Employee participation is the process of involving employees in the decision-making process of the organization. It is a process of empowering employees in the workplace. Millennials today want to make an impact too big, too fast in any organization they join. To cater to this growing demand for autonomy in the workplace, employee participation has become a basic requirement. So, why employee participation is required? Let's discuss in detail. It empowers employees in the workplace. Decentralization of decision-making authority is wholeheartedly encouraged in modern organic organizations. Employee participation is considered to be one of the key high performance work practices, that is HPWPs, in human resource management. To cater to the growing demand for autonomy in the workplace, employee participation has become very important nowadays. So, what is the strategic relevance of participation? Workers' participation through trade unions and work councils. Work councils act as intermediate between top management and the employees. Trade union officers and work councils help build long-term relationships, which is helpful in the times of radical organizational change. Trade unions are important to gain social legitimacy for organizational change. According to International Labour Organization, workers have ideas which can be useful. Workers may work more intelligently if they are informed about the reasons for and then intention of decisions that are taken in a participative atmosphere. Here we see the forms of participation. There are 6 forms of participation. First is ascending participation. Here the workers are giving an opportunity to influence management decisions at higher levels. The workers do this through their elected representatives to joint councils or worker representatives in board of directors of the company. Second is descending participation. Here the workers are given more power to plan and to make decisions about their own work. They achieve this level of participation through delegation and job enlargement. Third is integrative participation. This participation is integrative when the purpose is to develop common goals and joint problem solving approaches. Fourth is distributive participation. It is called distributive when the purpose is to distribute power and authority among rank and file. Fifth is representative participation. The elected or nominated candidates, mostly from the unions, participate in decision making. Some examples include joint council, collective bargaining, etc. Direct participation. All employees are involved directly to voice their opinion. This includes open door policy, suggestion box schemes, autonomous work groups, etc. Levels of participation. Marchington and Wilkinson present 5 stages of participation in their escalator of participation concept. From the first level, the participation is only at the level of sharing of information. Then comes the level of communication, then consultation, co-determination, where both the parties of employers and employees sit together and take decisions, and then the last is control. Level of participations can be in different domains. First is information sharing. Under this participation mechanism, the employer agrees to keep the workers informed about the business conditions, and the workers are able to contribute to the organization, but giving their ideas and opinion. Second is problem sharing or consultation. Under this mechanism, the employer consults the workers when faced with a problem and seeks out the help of the union. Third is joint decision making. Under this mechanism, the workers and the managers jointly take important decisions. Fourth is self-management. The control stage of participation talks of self-management. The employees are involved in strategic decision making in issues concerning their areas of work. Here we discuss the levels of participation more in detail. When the level of participation concerns information sharing, this type of participation occurs at all levels. Means of participation is communication meetings, newsletter suggestions, schemes, etc. And the scope of participation is information about policies, changes, etc. When the type of participation is consultation, then this type of participation occurs at enterprise, plant or shop floor level. The means for this type of participation is through work committees, shop floor consultations, plant councils, joint management councils, etc. And the scope of this type of participation is regarding work, working conditions and welfare. When the type of participation is joint decision making, this participation occurs at the level of board, plant or shop floor level. The means for this type of participation is representation at board, plant and shop level decision making bodies. The scope of this type of participation includes work related issues. When the type of participation is self-management, it occurs at the enterprise level. That is, this type of participation is enterprise-wide. Means for this type of participation is representation at board, plant and shop level decision-making bodies. Scope of this type of participation is all strategic, policy and operational issues. Let's now discuss employee participation in the Indian context. The recognition of workers' participation or employee participation concept found an expression in the second 5-year plan, which envisages establishment of cordial relationships between management and workers, substantial increase in productivity in the interest of management, worker and the country as a whole, better welfare facilities for the workers, training and development and education of workers to extend their responsibilities and their role towards management. Various types of participation practiced in India are joint management councils, workers committee and co-partnership in ownership. So let's first take up joint management councils. This is the first step in achieving Labor Management Association. Established the concept of mutual consultation between labor and management to discuss issues related to industrial relations. Joint management councils have been assigned the following functions: administration of welfare measures, supervision of safety measures, operation of vocational training and apprenticeship training, preparation of schedules for working hours and breaks or holiday, and payment of rewards for suggestions, matters relating to rights of workers to receive information, discussion and offer suggestions, matters in which workers are expected to be consulted. Second is Workers' Committee. The Industrial Dispute Act of 1947 envisaged the creation of Works Committee in each unit consisting of representatives of workmen and employers with more or less equal representation. The Act lays down that it shall be the duty of the Works Committee to promote for securing amity and good relations between the employers and workmen, and to that end to comment upon matters of their common interest or concern and endeavor to compose any material difference of opinion in respect of such matters. The effectiveness of works committees will depend on the following factors: a more receptive attitude on the part of the management, adequate support from the unions, proper appreciation of the scope and functions of works committees, wholehearted implementation of the recommendations of the works committees, proper coordination of the functions of the multiple bipartite institutions at the plant level. Now we shall discuss co-partnership in ownership. Co-partnership in ownership by the workers can be achieved by issuing to the workers the shares in the company. There is no reason why these funds should not be treated as the workers' share in the industrial unit. Employees in few of the organizations are getting ESOPs, that is, employee stock ownership plans, as a share of the profits of the concern in which they are working and are identified as partners in the fortunes of the company. Let's now discuss the issues involved in participation. First is mode of representation. The most critical difficulty in implementation of participation is the way in which worker representatives are to be nominated. This issue is contentious since it is related to union membership strength. In some cases, secret ballot may work. However, in other cases, membership verification has to be done. Unless this hurdle is removed, no real progress in terms of workers' participation can be achieved. Second issue is level of participation. In case of a multi-union situation, the primary issue is who should be taken on board. Third is coverage of the schemes. The issue here is the applicability of the scheme based on the size of the organization. Whether the scheme should be applicable to large organizations only or for both smaller and larger organizations is a concern to be addressed beforehand. Next issue is employee participation mechanisms for temporary and contract labor. Companies which get their work done through contractors and do not employ workers on a regular basis do not have many provisions for participation of the contract workers. Efforts made by Ministry of Labour in this regard has not shown huge results. Next issue is changing composition of the workforce. The declining of the average age of workers and the rise of their educational and technical levels account for greater awareness in the workforce and greater desires to be involved in decision making processes of the organization. This calls for greater information sharing and more participative work system. The next issue of participation is related to gender issues. Although the number of women representatives on boards in India has doubled over the past 6 years to 11.2% in 2015 from 5.5% in 2010, women participation in the senior management level has shockingly declined from 7.8% in 2014 to 7.2% in 2015. Women have been excluded in the decision making process because of cultural constraints or due to women's relative lack of time and mobility due to their workload and multiple roles. If participatory development is to benefit from women's contributions and meet the particular needs of women, a range of strategic and practical measures must be taken to overcome these barriers. Managers' participation in work. Employee participation means that every employee is given equal opportunity and is regarded as a unique human being, not just a cog in the wheel. And each employee is involved in serving the organization to meet its objectives. True solution lies in first changing the concept of viewing the employees and managers as two separate groups. There should be no dichotomy or conflict of interest between them. Managers are also workers who work towards providing the best service and sharing of resulting benefit. Today, with the emergence of startup ecosystem, high performing employees seek more than just salary, and management must think of innovative ways of rewarding them in order to attract and retain good talent. ESOPs can be provided to employees to align their interests with that of shareholders of the company. Management should consider it as a responsibility to win the cooperation of workers. They should create conditions to inspire workers to put forward their best efforts towards the achievement of common objectives of the organization. Let's now discuss the trusteeship concept. It is a Gandhian principle of trusteeship. This expresses the responsibility of an enterprise to its consumers, shareholders, workers, and the community. It is based on the ideologies of truth, non-violence, and non-possession. A business enterprise is meant for good for all, not merely for profits. The managers and workers must not overlook their responsibility to the consumers, the community, and the shareholders who have staked their money in the success of the organization. The unions must also realize that their function is not only to secure maximum benefit for the workers, but also to assure success of the enterprise, because in the long run it will affect the welfare of the workers also. Stressing upon the importance of industrial peace, the director personnel of a major private iron and steel company in India has said, "It is time that the parties to the industrial relations stop thinking in terms of self-survival and evoke a philosophy of mutual survival, which is possible only in the context of their jointly taking the responsibilities of preserving and promoting what is generally accepted as national interest." Thus, mutual survival and mutual benefit for the community at large should be the attitude of management, workers, and trade unionists with dedication to the national interests. Employment participation is also referred to as employee employment. Few examples or the steps which have been taken for employee participation include project teams or quality circles in which employees work on projects with significant amount of responsibility being assigned to the team to make decisions. Self-managed work teams given the authority to select their own team members with whom they can work with comfort and can share ideas. Proposal schemes where employees are given channels whereby they can propose new ideas to managers, supervisors within the organization. Often, rewards are given to employees who make appropriate suggestions. Consultation exercises and meetings where employees are encouraged to share their opinions or viewpoint. Delegation of responsibility within the organization. In modern organizations, employees at ground level should be trusted with and given adequate responsibility to deal with customers in novel situations, since their frequency of interactions with the customers have increased manifold. Multi-channel decision-making processes. In such situations, decisions are not only made in a downward direction, they also result from communication upwards, sideways, and in many other directions within the organization. The widespread sharing of information enables all employees to have complete information about the company so that they can respond quickly. Let's now summarize what we have studied in this module. It provides an insight on the employee participation concepts and its strategic relevance. This module familiarizes the readers with the various forms and levels of participation and also highlights the participation schemes undertaken in India. It explores the reasons that lead to issues in employee participation and describes the role of manager in development, implementation of participation schemes in organizations. Thank you.